I'm ready. Yeah. Okay, great. So today we're going to talk about light levels. This is a light meter that shows foot candle, and it says a foot candle meter. There's two types of light levels that are commonly measured. The first one is what's called lumens. Lumens are what come out of a light. So for instance, if I have a light and it'll say that it's producing X number of lumens, okay? Now, foot candle is the measurement of that light at a certain distance. So this meter will actually measure the amount of foot candles here on the desk, let's say, and the lumens would be the output that's coming out of the light that's in the ceiling. So that's the difference between lumen and foot candle. Okay? If your customers sometimes are going to say, hey, what are the number of lumens that I'm going to get, or number of foot candles that I'm going to get? What you'll want to do is you want to get back to the customer with questions about what they're looking for. Do you have a certain level that you need, and who is it that needs that level? Basically ask the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why, and how, to find out more from the customer. A lot of times it's just the customer saying, well, basically I want to make sure I have as much light as I have now, or I need more light, or I'm okay with less light. One of the things about, so you want to really get down to that. Now, they may have particular requirements. They may require 5 foot candles at the lowest level in their parking lot, and it's a government facility, and they have certain regulations on that. That would be an example. That's something you have to know. But if it's just them saying, hey, I just want to make sure I have good light, that's where you need to explain to the customer the function of CRI, the color rendering index, and Kelvin temperature, and the blue lights being better than the more yellow light for human the light output. You want to get down and find out from the customer what it is they're requiring. One of the things that customers will often say is, I want to have the light to be exactly the same. Well, that's not possible because we're changing the technology, and so it's not going to be exactly the same. Better is if they say, hey, I need more light, or I need less, I'm okay with less light. I understand that the quality of light is going to be different. Okay, so when you have a customer who says, I want my light to be exactly the same, that's trouble, because once we change the light quality is going to be different. It's going to be better, probably, and it's very likely that we'll have more lumens and more foot candles, in their facility. But if it's different, they may, and they've said they want it to be exactly the same. Make sure that you've got a reasonable customer and you understand what their needs really are. Now, there's another factor, which is this foot candle meter will measure the foot candles, but it's not measuring anything about CRI, okay, or color. So if you think about it, if you have a low pressure sodium light, it actually will put out a lot of foot candles, but those foot candles are not very usable because it's a very yellow type of light. This is a photopic meter. It measures the amount of light according to a light meter, like a camera meter, right? It's a machine is telling us how much light. It's not a human eye telling us how much light. There's another type of measurement called scotopic. Okay, this is photopic meter, and this is a $100 meter. There's also a type of meter called a scotopic meter, and that scotopic meter will give you the foot candles, scotopic foot candles, which means the way that the human eye is going to see them. So let's say I was under a low pressure sodium light and it says I'm getting 50 foot candles, but I still can't see very well because it's very bad, CRI and color. The color is so yellow, it's not very good. I could put this meter under in an induction light that's only giving me 25 foot candles, but I actually can see better. I'm able to read a newspaper better. I'm able to see the colors of a car better, etc. So that's what is important to know, what type of light is required. If they have a specific requirement for foot candles measurements, or do they have just a requirement to have better light quality? And most of our customers are just looking for better light quality. And so that's your job, is to explain what that is to them. If your customer is asking a lot of very technical questions and want a lot of technical information, it's important to find out what it is exactly that they're looking for. There are a lot of other factors that are involved with lighting, and if someone asks me, well, what is the foot candle? What foot candles am I going to get? Or what lumens am I going to get? It's very complicated. You can imagine that this measurement is going to be different in between fixtures, in different parts where there's shadows coming from different racks or lights, or other equipment that's in their factory or their facility. It's very complex. There's even a factor called cousining effect, which is, for instance, if their walls are painted white, they're going to be getting a lot more light than if their walls are painted black. If their walls are painted black, there's not going to be nearly as much reflected light coming from the lights and coming back in. So this meter is going to show up a lot less if the walls are black, or if the ceiling is painted black or a dark color versus light colors. The point being, it's very complicated. The light, the quality of light is a function of many things, not just the foot candles or the lumens. And your customers most of the time don't understand that. And it's your job as a salesperson to be able to explain to them and get them to understand the quality of light. And the main two factors are CRI and Kelvin temperature. If you can explain those two well, it'll take care of 99% of the customers, so that they understand that they're going to be getting better quality of light. And then just a sensitivity and asking them what they're looking for, so that they understand, and that you make sure that you're going to be addressing what they need, that they don't have certain requirements, but you need to know what those requirements are specifically. Again, as an agent, what your job is to really kind of boil it down for the customer and to let them know that they're going to be getting better quality of light. And what that better quality of light means is going to be dependent on their circumstance. An example, we changed the lights for Arizona Tile in their slab yard. In their slab yard, they had these $10,000 pieces of granite. They had metal halide lights, which have a CRI of around 65. And the problem that they were having was when they take those slabs out into the sunlight, they looked different because the color rendering index was different when they got into the sunlight. It became 100, and they were at 65 inside the facility. So the colors actually looked different when they brought the slabs out. By going to a good T8, we were able to get them up to about an 85 CRI. And the difference now, when they take the slab out, the color change is minimal. Okay, so it eliminated that problem that they had, but that was specific to their, to their circumstance. But again, working with color rendering index and Kelvin temperature to get them the better quality of light, and trying to avoid where we need measurements of the specifics, or at least, if it is a situation that requires measurements. That is something that we can do, but we want to make sure we know exactly what we're shooting for and that we can achieve that. Okay, good luck in your lighting world.